Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that Detroit is no perfect movie. So Detroit takes place during a 4-day riot that occurred in 1967, so approximately 50 years ago. And it tells us the events that took place before, during, and after the Algiers motel incident, where 12 of the guests suffered from police brutality. All the actors in this movie do a good job. John Boyega, Jacob Lattimore, Jason Mitchell, Hannah Murray, Anthony Mackie. Even John Krasinski in a few minutes gave such a good performance as this really sleazy lawyer. But my two favorites in this movie by far were definitely Algie Smith and Will Poulter. As a former singer named Larry Reed, Smith has a very smooth voice where he delivers his lines in a really charismatic way, especially when we do actually see him performing on stage and we see his real big desire to become a Motown singer, to play in a lot of really high-scale nightclubs. And we can really empathize with that because when he spends a large majority of the movie forced up against a wall, we're in fear of the fact that someone who's so talented and is such a down-to-earth guy might never get the chance to make a name for himself or get the chance to do what he loves most. And Will Poulter, in my opinion, gives his best performance in his entire career. Despite his young age, from beginning to end, he is believable as a policeman who abuses his authority and can overpower just about anyone. And when he's yelling in people's faces and spewing out racial slurs, it never felt over the top. He acted and sounded the exact same way that we imagine corrupt policemen to be. And unlike most corrupt cops in movies who really just seem to enjoy having power over other people and don't really have much of a motivation for being racist, it's the actions that cause these riots that cause him to believe that what he's doing is the right thing, that he's preventing other people from committing crime and harming innocents. But he's always aware of the fact that his superiors do disapprove of his methods. Catherine Bigelow's direction consistently feels grounded in reality and builds suspense at just the right moments. The handheld camera work makes each shot as if it was filmed in the moment and not rehearsed, but it's not shaky cam either. You can still see the damage unfolding during the riots in every way, shape, or form. Bigelow also occasionally mixes standard coverage with 4x3 news footage of the riots to make the portrayal of the time period feel a lot more authentic. And the thing I really loved the most was the fact that during the most intense scenes of the movie, there was no musical score whatsoever. And that's nothing against James Newton Howard, he did do a good job. But because the film builds up each act of police brutality before it happens, anything from a sudden gunshot to an angry outburst feels a lot more shocking because of all the uncomfortable silence that we heard beforehand. The movie also does a fair job at showing the redeeming qualities and faults of both Caucasian people and African American people. Now, it is true that some of the events in this film have been dramatized and are based on eyewitness reports, so I'll do my best to describe what I'm about to say as a work of fiction because that's what this movie is. It's a work of fiction. It's not a documentary. Now, in this film, while none of the 12 victims had any possession of a gun, one of them did fire a starter's pistol as a joke because he wanted to see white people suffer the same fear and mistreatment that he and his fellow African American civilians have. But the script makes it clear that firing a starter's pistol, for that reason, in the middle of a citywide riot, was a really fucking stupid idea. And it was that action that led some racist cops to raid a hotel in the first place and put many innocent lives at risk. And for every racist cop who beats and murders an innocent black civilian, and the movie never hides that fact, there are a couple of Caucasian cops who do legitimately help injured black civilians, not because they have to, but out of sympathy, because they want to. As for minor issues, while the equal amount of coverage of what happened before, during, and after the incident is very refreshing, especially since most biopics favor certain stages over others, all of these stages have a couple scenes that could have been trimmed down or just cut altogether, especially a couple of riot scenes that really don't affect any of the main characters. And while he did give a good performance, I did want to see more of John Boyega's character, the things that he went through on the job as a black cop in this situation, how both sides of the riot treated him, and how he manages to pull himself through. And it's not that we don't get to see those things happen, we do. It's just they're not in the movie as much as I would have expected, and he's not actually involved that much with the motel incident as I would have expected. Detroit is one of my absolute favorite movies of the year so far. The direction, the performances, especially Smith and Poulter, the lack of score that really adds to the suspense, And the even narrative structure where the beginning, middle, and end of these events each got an equal amount of screen time, it all just felt top notch. And for that reason, I'm going to give Detroit a 4.5 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews at NoPerfectMovie.com. And once again, thank you all very much for watching. Take care.